Hello there, welcome to One on One here on Metro Television. My name is Bridget Otu. Always a great pleasure to bringing you the people who matter in the society, people who are making impact, people who have decided, look, we are going to take the bull by the horn. I have a man who fears nothing. Like, he takes risks as a young man, and I'm sure you've seen the flight, so I'm not going to waste so much time talking about it, but Abdullahi Sadiq Abdullahi Abu, popularly known as BABA SADIQ, is my guest on One on One. He is the parliamentary candidate for the NDC for the Okaikwe Central constituency in the Greater Accra region. In the Greater Accra region, the region that decides who becomes president of the Republic.
The only way that your constituency will get your share of the big push, which is a $10 billion infrastructure program that John Mahama is bringing, the only way that you as NDC members will be able to get the value of the next NDC administration is when you have BABA SADIQ as your MP in parliament.
He is knowledgeable, he is intelligent, he is a deliverer. Yeah. BABA SADIQ ayekano oye obi abebia obejina boni bibia Ghana fana you know bi enu.
Ebano real understanding and working the way in politics and how to leverage the power of politics to bring development to the people. Minjin said the current MP no Ochenye. So in 2024 we would work. But the first headline they said, Mr. Ramo, May 13th, NDC Okaikwe Central. Yabre, we've been in the wilderness for more than 20 years. There is every benefit for us having our own MP. In 2024, we are going to have our MP, but it starts on May 13th.
NDC ni bia ya babuye nyina ye die tumi e make sure say the prime minister no NDC ni afa no BABA SADIQ e win the prime minister no.
On the 13th of May, go out and do what is right. Vote for John Mahama, Zoo, and BABA SADIQ, Za.
I told you he's ballsy, and he's already demonstrated by going after this constituency. Baba, welcome to One on One.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
Has it sunk in what kind of task lies ahead for you? Have you wrapped your head around, okay, I've won, but how big is this task? Has it sunk in?
Yeah, it has. I mean, I think even before I embarked on the campaign to become the parliamentary candidate, I scoped it out very well in terms of what it would take to win the constituency, first and foremost, and what it would take to win the primaries, and then some of the key activities that we need to embark on. And so if you see me move right after the primaries, for instance, it would indicate, or it would show to you that this is somebody that's actually ready, I mean, psychologically and I mean mentally, for the task ahead. You know, I've always maintained and said to everybody that winning the Okaikwe Central seat won't going to be a walk in the park. Right. It tells you that this is somebody that has really, really scoped out the constituency and tried to understand the dynamics in the constituency and know the fact that, I mean, coming up against the MPP, and particularly if the MPP are going to represent the current MP, it's going to be a big fight, and it's going to be one that will take a lot to be able to do. So I've really scoped it out well. But that's something that's not beyond me. It's actually also not beyond God. And I'm not sure it's beyond the party in the constituency as well. So there will be a lot that we'll put into it.
You made a statement that you scoped and you figured or visualized what it would take. So question is, what would it take to win the constituency?
Well, first of all, it will take a very, very good and refreshingly different campaign in the ways that the party hasn't experienced from the NDC in the constituency. Well, I mean, of course, there are a lot of young people in the constituency. Right. Young people are looking to see NDC showing that they are really, really a very strong alternative. the constituency. First and foremost, it starts with having a candidate that understands the assignment, having a candidate that already resonates with the majorly young population in the constituency, and a candidate that really knows exactly what needs to be done to be a candidate that has a track record of being innovative in how approaching or creating value for society is generally, And so it started from that. Thankfully, the delegates of the party in the constituency also aligned with that particular thinking and narrative as well. And so we are at that point where we need to be able to elevate that particular narrative and take it to the general voters in the constituency. The situation actually favors the NDC. The general voters in the constituency have shown enough faith with the MPP in the constituency since the constituency was carved out from the bigger Okaiki North constituency.
Right.
In the last 2 election cycles, the constituency have voted for the MPP, and in the last 11 years, going to 12 years, if you go into the constituency, they'll tell you what they need to see, what they need to experience, having shown enough faith with an MP for 3 different terms, if not seen it.
Okay.
They see things happening in other constituencies, major development things. They're seeing legacy, real legacies being left in other constituencies that they've not experienced. So the question is, really, how? Then they see a young man who, even in his private life, has been able to do things that has elevated the conversation and has been able to bring value to industries. That's also impacting to society as well. Same young man is approaching development with the same level of zeal, energy, and positive excellence. They see it, they feel it, they know that this is the young man that can turn things around for us. And so it will require a whole lot, but it will require a very good campaign in breaking things down, in understanding the insight, understanding the dynamics, understanding the various different blocks and what really resonates with them and their needs and the approach, having an innovative approach in solving them and doing, like I said, a refreshingly different campaign that has not been experienced before.
Right.
And so that's what will really take us to win the seat.
Right. And you talk about, a young man who has made an impact by the music industry, 3 networks. And I just want to read a statement you issued, before, as your last, official statement from as CEO of 3 network. And there was something you said, 3 media.
Yeah.
Okay. And you said, I have this principle that I need to make an impact wherever I find myself. And I believe that I have made a great impact at 3 Music Network. I'm still the company, but not in managerial role. And there's nothing wrong with that. And you go on to talk about the constituency. Yes, this is the part I like. I'll say, in all of my nearly 17 years of professional life in the Ghanaian and African media and entertainment industry, I've always lived by the creed that my work and life should ultimately benefit my industry, community, and country. And if later on in my life I am called upon by the people or by my people and country to serve in whatever capacity, I will not turn my back on them. I believe the time has come for me to extend my quest of excellence and remarkable experience in the media. And this was you giving us a hint of your intention to contest. Yeah. And you said if the call come, how did the call come?
Well, it was work in progress. Some time back, I think almost about 10 years ago. First and foremost, I was born in the Kwaikwe Central constituency. Right. I was born in Fadama. I attended the Harrow School in Abeka. That's where I actually began my schooling till JSS. I started off my Arabic education in a school, popular Islamic school called Halibun Walid, which is also in Abeka. Halibun Walid.
Halibun Walid.
Halibun Walid, which is also in Abeka, and then also continued at Ansarudin in Fadama. So first and foremost, I understand the constituency, and this is my people. Right. So about 10 years ago, as somebody in the industry, Rose was then, I think, the programs director at VASAT1. I was also managing Kaki. I was doing a whole lot in the industry. Young people in the community had come to me to tell me that on a particular event, Salah, there isn't anything in the community. The community is almost always silent, and they would have to leave the community and go out to celebrate with others. And sometimes there are issues that comes out of it. They cited one example where they had to go, one of their boys were beaten, somebody was stabbed, and all of that. So they had come to me to tell me that we see where you sit, you're one of us, we've seen you grown, And I mean, in any industry, we see what you can do. We need you to institute something for us, you know, something that can keep us grounded, something that can keep us home, something that can continue to nourish our community. So then I started off doing a particular event. So I started what we call the Salaf Carnival in Fadama.
Right.
So it started from there. Then after the first successful one and the second successful one, then the young people began to come to me for any other idea they get, because now they've seen somebody who is a doer, somebody who will just not talk, somebody that would act on the things they tell them. So they come to me, oh, we're looking to do a health screening. We need you to put it together for us. Then it happens. We're looking to do a community unity walk or something like that. We'll put it together for them. We'll provide things. Then it's scaled up to our grandfather, the National Chief Man, who has an event or two that's always happening, more lit, this, that. Then when the youth come together to do one aspect of it, we get involved in doing it. You know, so at a point I became like a young opinion leader of sorts, that the young people now have moved from coming to me for solutions or acting on things that they want to. Sometimes they come to me to organize sports-based events like the Ramadan Cup, Maulid Cup. There's a whole lot that we've been doing in the constituency. So all of these things position me as a young leader of sorts. And so now they've come to the point that this is a young person that was born with them, grew up with them, they saw grow, is doing well in this industry, is extending the same thing back home when they were asking him to do that. Then in 2020, when I was tapped to be the spokesperson of the Tourism, Art and Culture subcommittee or the Manifesto Committee for the 2020 campaign, I mean, they also saw what I did. They saw the work I did with His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, for instance. Then they see all these things that you're doing with 3 Music, Wilderland, becoming the thought leader of the media and entertainment industry. Particularly, there was this one major one that trended amongst them a bit. There was a debate between myself and the current Deputy Minister of Tourism, Art and Culture that had gone viral, because there was a lot of people that didn't experience the political side of BABA SADIQ in the ways that they did. And so it really went viral. I think a lot of people were blown away by the competence that was shown in that particular debate. And so right after the elections and seeing that you're now a spokesperson and knowing that particularly I'm a member of the NDC in the constituency, there's a lot of calls that was coming from the young people, because they've seen how I've been dedicated in serving them, and how I've been very responsive to the things that they asked me to do and all of that, and seeing where we're headed. Then the call started to come to say, look, for where we're headed, we think somebody that was born here, raised here, understands us, and has shown enough competence and have the reputation for it. We think that you're the one that we really need, particularly also because a lot of the young people in the community, in the constituency, are disenchanted. The intervention they sought to see in their life, or they seek to see in their life, hasn't happened in almost 11 years. Major things that should be happening to enable their lives and unlock their true potential hasn't happened. And here they are seeing one of them.
Like what? Like what? Is it jobs? Like what?
They're looking for jobs. They're looking for skills. I mean, they're looking for jobs. A lot of the young people will tell you, they're just looking for when I go to them consistently, they tell you, it's not your money we're looking for. We're looking for the job placement. We're looking for a careful, deliberate action that should be done by somebody that truly cares for us, to ensuring that we're well off. That's what they tell you. And then seeing that even as a young person, you've created a business that creates employment for other young people, seeing that you have all the ideas that's enabling industries and creating jobs for people, then they come and say, we think for the next one, we think you should consider it. So again, just like it happens when they come to me consistently, I thought about it, I engaged widely, spoke to a number of elders in the constituency, across board, from here, from Bimomo, where I'm primarily from, to Blemago in Abeka, and then going to all the other places, and got the blessings. And then that's where we kicked off the campaign and began to continuously engage and have conversations and discussions, and we are at this point now. And the belief is there.
But what did it for you? Did it take a particular person or a particular incident, or what did it for you?
To enable me
to decide and say, okay, yes, I'm getting the calls from these people, but I think I am ready, mentally, physically, financially ready. What did it for you? Yeah.
I think it was just the another opportunity to serve. Most importantly, another opportunity to bring or extend the same positive excellence that I'm known for in my industry, particularly because it was lacking in the constituency, and then the ability to be able to innovate around the problems and to be able to bring solutions that's needed for young people. So this, particularly when we realized that, okay, this is the point we've gotten to, I knew it was the point to be able to, because when I track my mind back, I'm seeing the shifts, I'm seeing the things that we've been able to achieve with the same cause that was brought to me by the young people.
Right.
Starting from an event, coming down to this, coming down to that, and all of those things. So I just couldn't disappoint them.
Okay.
I needed to be that shining light that I've become to them. And so that was the point, and that was what made it for me. And most importantly, when we began to speak to the elders of the constituency, generally, chiefs, elders of the party or the constituency, people that truly understand the constituency and how far we've come, it became even much more obvious that this is the time to actually throw my hat in the ring.
Right. And now you have their blessings. So now we have delegates.
Right.
What is the strategy? What was going through your mind? Okay, how do I win them over? I'm a young person, and I spoke to Edem a week ago, and he said one of the things that initially worked against him was the fact that he was young.
Yeah.
People are trying to see, older persons, sometimes with gray, maybe wobbly, I don't know, but so what was the strategy to conquer the delegates?
Well, in my case, again, from prior experience in different industries, I've known that people will be moved by competence. People will be moved by action. People will be moved by optimism. People will be moved by a very genuine quest to uplifting them, and they see through it. Forget about everything that has been said about delegates or voters or anything. They know. They see it. They know there's one thing that runs through their mind. When it walks like it, talks like it, acts like it, it definitely it's what it is. They know it. They feel it. Because, some of them are older. You cannot throw away their experience, life experiences away. These are some of the point of reflections even before we began the campaign.
Okay.
But most importantly, even when I was born there, even after I've convinced myself that I knew the challenges or the issues that needed to be addressed, we needed to start from a point of research.
What did you tell them? What was the message?
Well, for my party, it was
for the delegates, not the constituency.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Yes.
For the delegates, that's what I'm saying. That you need to understand a few things.
Okay.
Research will show you that the NDC hasn't won the seat from 1996 when we lost it. That's one. And research would also show you that they've always been yearning to have an MP in their lives as well. That's two. Thirdly, from the same research will show you that one of the things that has been lacking in the constituency is somebody that connects the party directly to the top, particularly when we are in power. Somebody that has the relationship, somebody that has access to strategically place individuals of the party in the ways that even when we are in power and there's the need to be able to direct benefits to constituency party members, there's the need. The party has lacked that. The constituency has lacked that, for some time. So research will show you that. Most importantly as well, research will show you that there are a number of initiatives that in my private life that I've done, that have created employment and opportunities for a lot of people, that is still lacking in the constituency. That's still lacking in the lives of some of the delegates. And some of them are also looking for the same opportunities for the young ones that are currently in school and all of that. And so this has been some of the things that we've built on it. Most importantly, research would also show you that as a political party internally, the delegates of the party, we will take our decisions anyway. But research would have shown you and so there's a research that we're actually reflecting to them that most importantly, for the party, you need somebody whose credentials and reputation you can sell to the general voter. And people have not thought about it strategically within that particular sense, where you say to them that, look, we are 1,200 and at most will be 1,266. When you consider the constituency, the voters registered in the constituency is 61,000. When you take us out, the 1,266, very, very important group. When you take us out, there are over 60,000 more people in the constituency who you've got to convince. And you need to be able to break it down and show them and tell them that, look, from 96 when you lost it, the sort of candidates they voted for, these are the sort of qualities and personalities and things that they have. It is for you to truly win and for you to have a proper opportunity to win. You've got to have a candidate that actually reflects these and more. So these were the things that was at the heart of my campaign and to the delegates. Then when you have gathered all this information, then it comes to the tactics of how do you get this message across? How do you get to influencing everybody across? And again, BABA SADIQ has always done the hardest things. The most difficult things that people run away or shy away from are things that I'll consistently be engaged in. So the questions was asked. We put together a team. And I've always, in reflecting on some of these feedback and the narratives that have emerged from the research, one of the things that you will come to terms with is that I keep saying to everybody that it's not called a campaign for nothing. I mean, this is a point where you would have to dig deep on your trainings as a communications person. This is where you would dig on your experience, your life experiences as somebody, as an achiever, as a doer, as somebody that works with people in achieving the goal. So the second line after you've gathered the research and everything was, you need people to effect or to run an effective campaign. Who are the people that you will need? Who are the people that identify with the cause and truly also want to win the constituency for the NDC that can be part of this? And so then we thought about finding the people, the key people that we need across. So you break down the constituency. There are 5 electoral areas. At most, you may come from 2, or you may represent 2 of the electoral areas, but there are 5. And so you need to have representation of all these electoral areas within your campaign. Who are these guys that you will need? And the quest was not to really look out for big people per se. We're really looking out for effective people. People that could work in the campaign.
Who were the people that you identified to help your campaign?
Okay, there were a number of them. Some became executives, some were branch executives. Okay. Some have been true activists of the party for some time.
Were there national people who were supporting you in the constituency or came to your constituency to speak to delegates?
No. But of course, you would have, you wouldn't know if there was anybody from the national perspective that was actually talking to people.
But you would know because they would be campaigning for you.
No, there wasn't that instance.
Okay.
A lot of our campaign was truly grassroots. Look, one of the tactics that we use, for instance, today when I look back, I just look at it with pride because I know the debates and the conversations that we had already that ran late into the night with the team. Okay. We assembled a team. So from Bemomo, there was a team. You go into Olengele, which is another electoral area, there was a team. You go into, and you have to carefully select it to represent the 4 voting blocks in the constituency. Because it was very important, because you needed to be a candidate that resonates with it. And like I said, all of these things is also based on dig deep in research and gathering insight and understanding the dynamics and knowing what to do. Anybody that has known me will tell you that when I take a step, whether it's a small or a big step, there's a likelihood there was a lot of considerations for that particular step. And so anybody that knows me very well and knows how I compete will tell anybody that's competing against you, whether you're big or small, that this guy doesn't just take any step. When he takes the step, it's likely he exactly knows where he's headed. Right. Whether it's small or because it takes a lot for me to take a step. And so you needed to have the team again, because of course you cannot effect a campaign on your own. You need people, you need effective people, human resource that understand, that are committed to the cause. And so we built a team, and that's one of the things that I'm really, really grateful for. The kind of team that I built to execute my campaign within the constituency. And so a lot of the ideations and ideas, and I think my ability to listen to them, my ability to try to say, this is what the research is saying. How do we approach this? How do we do this? And so we had it, and then we had a lot of elders. One of the people that have been a pillar of my campaign, for instance, is a former chairman of the constituency.
Right.
Chairman Hamidu.
Okay, see.
Okay, so yeah,
Okay.
I mean, okay, North, or okay, North, when he was,
before the
yeah, he was.
carving out.
He's a former chairman. I mean, even though he was a former chairman, was home. It was critical to me. I ran to him when we were confused about anything. It's like, Chairman, this is what we are thinking about. I mean, we're confused. This knot, we cannot untie it. How do we do? He will joke with us a bit and everything, and he teaches you by asking you questions. So he won't tell us exactly. He tells us that he's teaching us to fish. So he won't tell you that this is what you should do. He asks you questions. How is the campaign going? How is this? Are you happy with this? What does this tell you?
Right.
Okay, what is this? What is this? What is this? And then you go ahead and do it. And of course, you would have mentors. There are a number of mentors within the NDC generally, people that I've worked with on campaigns, a lot of very, very elderly people that I've had relationship with for some time that you will go to for guidance here and there. And then even within the constituency itself, apart from the former chairman, there's a council of elders chairman as well, Alaji Sule. The former chairman is called Chairman Amidu. There's Alaji Sule. There's a man in the constituency, an old executive, Mr. Sem, very unsung in his corner. You run to him for advice, he would tie the knot for you. Plus all these other elders, the two chief imams in the constituencies, there are other religious leaders, pastors of churches, and everything that you will talk to consistently. And all of them will give you some words of wisdom that would guide you in how you approach it. But most importantly for us, so we began to break it down. How do we approach it? One of the tactics that seemed to have worked for me after a while was our decision to ensure that we targeted to go to the homes. There are 1,266 delegates. We said we had a target that by the end of January 2023, we were going to go to the homes of each and every, at least 1,000 of these delegates.
Wow.
One-on-one, and engage them. Eventually, by February, we couldn't achieve the 1,000 target. We had done almost 800.
Wow.
We went to the
every
homes.
Single delegate.
Exactly. Every single delegate. We went to them. We went to their houses. We couldn't achieve the 1,000. But even the 800 that we achieved.
To do what? To bribe them?
Not bribe them, engage them, talk to them. Because we had picked a very valuable insight that they felt respected. Right. They felt regarded. A lot of them had issues in them. Some of them feel, even though they are delegates of the party, they feel they've been neglected. I went to someone, for instance. He's a branch chairman. He's been sick for some time. The party hadn't really taken notice of it, wow. And he felt betrayed. And so you know what it means when you come to him, talk to him, understand the situation, and you are actively trying to solve it for him. It takes a lot. It takes a lot for somebody to actually come. So that particular tactic was a very good one in going to the homes, understanding them, listening to them, When we went to the homes, the first part, so it was in phases. We wanted to go to there, I wanted to at least have 2 different phases of it. So the first phase was, first and foremost, we're coming to introduce ourselves. We're interested, even if you know us, we're coming to introduce ourselves. This is what we're interested in. This is a big vision that we see. But before we go on, you're a very key person to us. We want to listen to you. What do you want to see? Okay. What's the kind of advice or direction you can give to us?
Baba, we'll have to take a break. We'll take a commercial break. When we come back, we'll continue Baba Sadiq on the strategy he used, making each delegate feel important, feel respected. I mean, we're Ghanaians, and we respect it when people come to us. Makes us feel so important that we are heard. We are heard. And also, there are people who have issues and never say it, especially in a public space. But in a private space, they may tell you. What did they tell Baba Sadiq? What did Baba Sadiq promise them? How expensive was his election? And then the candidates that he will be coming up against. It's a huge battle. But he kind of ruffled him because during the primaries, he started working in the constituency. When we come back from the break, we'll talk about that and more. Stay with us here on One on One. Welcome back to One on One. If you've joined us on Facebook, you can leave your comments using the hashtag One on Twitter. Same. And you're watching us from your homes on your big giant TV too. We're grateful that you got to join us. My guest is BABA SADIQ, communication specialist. He's a politician now, former CEO, 3 Media. We'll talk about that, just briefly, the kind of revolution he's brought to this industry and how every, other organizer is kind of, looking at what 3 Media does when organizing events, and I think that's a big thing. We're coming back to OKC, the strategy you used in winning delegates over, because you won by, is it 1,100?
No, I won with about 400. Okay,
No, you won. Your total vote was...
The total was 1,161.
Yes.
And I got 682 out of it. So my second contender got 200 and something. So
yours was huge.
It was huge. It was over 400
huge.
votes.
Wow. Yeah. So one of the things you believe you did right was going to each delegate and speaking to them, one-on-one to hear them. And you mentioned that of a chair who was sick, no one knew about him and all that. So I just want to hear, some of these stories and how that informed you going forward. Just if you could just hint a bit on that.
Yeah, and that proved to be it, because then what happened was that after I visit one person once or twice, and they were confident in you. And of course, like I said to you, they know it and feel it. When you're speaking to them from a point of wisdom, when you're speaking to them from a point of somebody that is headed somewhere, that has a genuine interest to move the needle, they see it, they feel it. Okay. And so we went to them with the message, we engaged them, and then with time, what happened was that they began to become our canvassers. They will be the one to say, oh, you've come to me, there's this other person that's here. I think we need to go and see him. Then they will call you to say, look, I've got one person that ordinarily a lot of people may not necessarily regard in the constituency. But that person can be confident and tell you that he's about the one that will call me at any point in time that I'll pick. He will debate with people and say, "Who the train? 1 a.m. My friend is a everybody knows him, Adazi David. Right. And
Adazi.
He's called Adazi, he's a David, and he's in the constituency as well. David, with time, and he tells me, this is the first, he's a canvasser, he's a branch executive, everybody knows him, he's around. There's been a number of people that would tell, this is the first time somebody interested in leadership had come to me. And that felt heartwarming for a lot of people. And so he won them over for me, and then they began to do that canvassing. So David can wake up, when he closes from work, he'll be moving from delegates to delegate, because he said that by certain acts that I've done for him, for instance, he was going to ensure that we'll win. So he'll move to the delegates and try to canvass, tell them about you and everything, and then he calls you to talk to the delegates. Then you schedule to come and meet the delegates again. That explained why I had to step down from my role, for instance, because It was becoming hectic. But that was the most important thing that we needed to do. You needed to touch base with each and every one of them. And that's the same strategy that we're using even for the elections. You know, and I say to everybody that, look, my strategies are open. It is there. People say, why are you putting them out? Why is it on social media and everything? You go somewhere and somebody says, I like the work that you're doing. I saw that you went to the Abekameke last week. This is the work. And that's the point. And I said to them, look, we could put it out there. The current MP or the opponent can see it. It doesn't mean they can execute it on the levels that we want to execute. Yeah. If they want to stop whatever they are doing, follow us as well. That's their game. That's their matter. You know, and that's the same thing that we're doing. There are a number of homes in Okaki Central.
So how many, you said you wanted to visit over 1,000 homes. You were only able to do about 800.
About 800.
The election is over, all right. Did you still continue even though you won?
Currently actually doing that. I'm in the middle of something. Immediately when we're done with the elections, I think we rested so we're done with elections on Saturday. The Sunday morning, very tired, I had made a promise. I'd gone to one of the churches, the EP Church of Abeka, for instance. I was invited. And then when I was leaving, I asked them to pray for me. And then I just come to me that they should just pray for me. Thankfully, when we are done with the elections, then a day after that, I'll come in to thank them and thank God. Right. So they prayed for me. I was very tired, very sick. Everybody had said, no way. But I said to them that, no, your word is your bond. I stood there and made a promise for them. So even as I was going to be in the wheelchairs, I'm going to go to that particular church. Even if there was nobody there, I have to be there. I did. I went. Then we continued our activities from the Sunday afternoon. Then I got a bit sick because I was tired. Monday I was trying to go. I mean, I know my wife was very tired because she was like, no, the way she saw me on the Sunday, she had to get my doctor to tell me to say, listen, you need to rest, you need to put all your phones in silence. Like, Chief, look, I can't do that. There's everybody calling on you. You can't do that. It's like everybody, because when I sleep a bit from the drugs, you wake up and there's about 20 missed calls and you've got to call everybody, which meant that people really needed you. And also, if you look at the momentum, the campaign was led and run by a lot of young people. The victory was celebrated by a lot of young people across the constituency. They feel the momentum. It's a whole momentum. It's like a whole youth movement to say, this is one of us. He's a reflection of us. We've seen what he's been able to do. We're confident in his abilities to bring relief to us. We're going to take the campaign and we're going to be active in it. Regardless of whatever it is, we couldn't feel them. So immediately after that, I think we rested Monday. So we're down to elections on Saturday. Sunday, I was out. Monday, Tuesday, I rested. Wednesday, I had met with the team. We had scheduled a very small thank you to the team because it was important. Showing gratitude to the team that executed the campaign was very, very, very important. In fact, the Monday I had reached out to all the Sunday I had reached out to all the other candidates that went against me. And I was scheduling a meeting to meet with them. The Wednesday after that, I met with one of the candidates that contested against me to speak to him and try to bring him on board on the campaign. I met some young people as well that wanted to see me. By the Thursday, Friday, we were actively on the road again. Actively on the road to start what I call my thank you and post-primaries engagement. So we're going to each and every delegate's home, regardless of whether they voted for me, they didn't vote for me, regardless of whether they campaigned for any other candidate or not. The idea was simple. I was going to them.
Delegates who lost?
Yeah, I mean, the candidates who lost, even the people that actually were working with them, we went to each and everyone's home to say thank you.
So this is a general national question, really, about this period where it looks like a lot of young people are not really interested in politics because when surveys are conducted, least liked is politician. People who aren't honest as politicians. So why is the young people are running away from this and you are going in? What is there?
What I mean, and I think that's one of the things that needs to be changed. Active citizen participation in our democratic process is very important. And particularly as young people that have been able to do well in our private lives, it's important we need to be able to join the table. Because one of the things that have made young people disenchanted, they'll tell you, is that there are a lot of older people that really do not understand them, do know how to present opportunities to them. And so there's a need to have other young people that are a reflection of other young people to be at the table.
Right.
So we can be able to influence key decision making that's meant to enable the other young people. And that's the point. Because
what has the older generation failed to do? Why have they made politics so unattractive?
I mean, the verdict is out there. If you talk to a lot of young people, they'll tell you, I mean, they don't have jobs. And that thing that makes them disenchanted. And of course, when you even go on the grounds, when you go to the, when I'm doing my one-on-one and house-to-house, one of the key things they'll tell you is, and I, my and that's is at the heart of the disappointment the people feel. And of course, this is in my constituency of Kakri Central. They are talking about their experience with the current MP. Where they say, well, he came to us, we voted him, it's 11 years, I've not actually even seen him before. I mean, he's not.
But they still vote for him. He's one.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. That they've shown a lot of faith, and that's what's remarkable, and that will be the turning point in my campaign. That's one of the things that I'm very confident would inure to our benefit in the campaign. That particular disappointment, and the fact that still, regardless of the disappointment, you're saying that there's some few months left to go. They should begin to see a certain verve or zeal or energy to say, okay, finally, there's a young person that's turning around the campaign. We need to be able to actively get involved and to turn it around. But as the nonchalance is still there. Okay. They're not seeing any active activity or deliberate action to having to turn around some of these issues that they've had with the system. And that's some of the things that is at the heart of the disenchantment with the system. Okay. So the verdict is out there regarding some of the things that they think the older generation haven't been able to do for them, because they associate some of the failings of society or governance to the activities of people that were before. Because then their thinking is that, well, if they were able to fix all of these things, then maybe it should be easy for us. Okay. And so these are some of the things that. Okay.
So the certain MP say they don't have access to him, but somehow he manages to win the election. So what then he must be doing something right for him to be winning
must have
the election.
Something wrong.
How?
Again, so like I said,
wrong how? What could a voter possibly do wrong?
We're looking at the no. I'm not looking at the voter in this case. I'm looking at, or maybe when I say we may be doing something wrong, I'm probably thinking maybe other political actors in the constituency. Okay. You know, there's an NDC, there are other party members, there are other politicians in the backing with. That's why I've always maintained it's not called a campaign for nothing. You know, and most importantly now, where we've got into, it's not the campaign has evolved. There was an era where you just needed to tell the people, when I come, I want to be able to do this, that. These are all the fine ideas and everything they'll buy into them. Now they need to be able to begin to experience a semblance of what you're looking to do. If you're looking to provide a certain leadership, they need to be able to see you actively getting involved and creating and bringing that relief to them. You know.
So what did you promise them? What did you promise them?
My big thing for the constituency, I mean, now we're moving from the delegates.
Even with the delegates, what did you promise them?
The delegates, I mean, I spoke about how I said to them that BABA SADIQ
will have access to.
BABA SADIQ will be that refreshingly different leader they are looking for. BABA SADIQ will be that one that resonates with the 4 voting blocks, and particularly for the party, because one of the biggest objectives is to organize ourselves, rally to win political power in the constituency. Made them understand how it's important that the qualities that I have would inch us closer to victory. Okay. You know, and so these are some of the things. And most important, even for the party, there are a number of key initiatives that I've indicated to them that I intend to embark on right after primaries, particularly after our Thanksgiving, our thank yous and everything. There are a number of things that I've promised for them to start that, from my point, would activate and energize the party's base, most importantly, and would be a semblance of some of the things that I want to do on a bigger scale for the constituency. Because one of the things that have impacted the constituency, they tell you that the MP, when he comes to them, tells him that, you know what, I know you like NDC, I know you like your John Mahama. Vote for me, don't worry about my presidential candidate. You can vote for your Nanadu. And that accounts for some of the skirt and blouse in the constituency.
Okay.
And I know maybe perhaps from the top in the party, they are concerned about, I'm sure they may have been concerned. I'm sure the president, one of the things that probably ensured the not re-nomination continuing or giving him, what's it called? Or reappointing him to a deputy ministerial position. Perhaps could account for that, because I'm sure they are thinking, how is it getting more votes than a presidential candidate? Because that's what happens. So the OC's O9 project is a very simple one, where I'm promising to all the party delegates, all the party members to say, right after primaries and as PC, any of you, if your children that are in secondary school today, if any of them get a single digit between aggregate 06 to 09, regard their fees and their support that they will get to go to university on me. And these are things that I've carefully thought about, and I know how to execute.
And where will the funds come from?
Again, so like I said, there are a number of things that you do not necessarily have to work around, major funding things about it. The things that I do in terms of aiming and planning my things, I've always sought to find my ways around getting the funding.
How?
Well,
it's important if you're vying for an office and you're being very critical of this government.
One of the things that I've said
that
I've said to everybody is that this year, when the young people came to me to organize, let's say, the Fadama Carnival, for instance, huge, the kids party and everything, it was funded well. How did it come about? Again, from my own resources, that's one. Secondly, from somebody that has actually worked on these things from a bigger scale. By now, I should know my way around adequately lobbying for sponsorship and support for my initiatives.
Okay.
And there are a number of organizations,
individuals. You're still dancing
people.
Around the question.
I'm telling you how I'm funding some of my things. I'm giving you clues regarding how I'm funding some of these things. There are a number of ways.
Does that not feed into the whole idea that the secrecy in campaign financing is why people consider politicians to be corrupt? They would have to get deals, get kickbacks, but because you're not open about it in the initial step into getting in.
I understand the opacity regarding campaign financing, for instance, because at a certain level there's a non-disclosure element of it, where you can't truly people want to closely guard some of their
so it's the
key
sponsors
donors
who don't want to be known.
Some, of course, there are some sponsors that wouldn't want to be known, either because maybe they don't want, maybe they're doing it because I believe in Sadiq and I would want to wholly support him.
Right.
But maybe I am not somebody that's maybe a political donor on a larger scale. And so putting me out there and detailing and saying it's coming from here may probably bring undue pressure on them.
What if it might encourage me to also go there?
Exactly, and that's perhaps not sort of like a pressure they do. So, like I said, there are a number of reasons or the number of reasons why a lot of people are opaque about their campaign financing. But like I said, like I've always maintained in all my media engagement about.
Is it enough to just say, okay, well, they don't want to be known by this, but okay, Sadiq, I was able to put this in it. My business were able to do this because it's naturally open people up to trusting politicians again, trusting you again. Yeah.
All good and dandy. Ideally, that should be what it's supposed to be.
Right.
But in the absence of any deliberate policy to compelling people to actually naming or being very open about their campaign financing, people would have their own reasons, And again, some people would want to run away from the vindictive nature of our politics because then when it's out there that, you guys are the ones behind this guy. And perhaps maybe they are in government and you're going up against an MP they like, then they may have challenges. Somebody may actually even have challenges because, if you're coming up against my MP, for instance, who is the vice chairman of the finance committee in Parliament?
Right.
And at that particular level, if he decides or wants to, or feel like, having certain issues with key things. If you have an MP, for instance, that sits at the appropriations committee, and there is a particular state agency whose budget they need to approve, and part of it include a particular contract by somebody, and there's a whole conversation around, Charlie, this is a guy that's actually supporting this guy it
So it's
becomes
our
difficult.
system that encourages the secrecy in campaign financing, and until that
No,
is
it's
changed,
a personal reasoning. Personal reasons.
No, the
Okay,
system is
okay,
our
yeah.
political system,
Yeah,
our
but the
political
system,
structure.
well, the system, like I said, I mean, once there's that absence of a deliberate, compelling effect for how people to actually name their source,
Right.
people would, or again, not necessarily naming their source, or most importantly, ensuring that
To declare, right?
not necessarily declare, ensuring that people are, or political parties or political activities, there be a source where people can actually tap into it or get support to fund political activities that are supposed to enhance the well-being of
Right.
the people.
Right.
The people will resort to their own individual ways of raising funds. It could be their own funds. Look, about
Right.
60 to 70% of your own activities would have to come from your own funds.
In
That's
your
first of all.
case, if we're estimating, how much are we talking about?
It's difficult. That's one of the things about me and numbers.
Right.
Even if I know it in my head, it's always very difficult to put it out again. For
But
very,
is
very
it
varied reasons.
expensive? Is it expensive?
Of course, it's a very expensive venture.
But how would a young person get in if it is so expensive for them to, even if they have interest?
Show
in
competence, have a
politics?
reputation for competence, have a reputation that people can bank on.
Okay.
That's it. Have a reputation. I mean, if you do not have money, you should have reputation. You should have a reputation as somebody who is an achiever. You should have a reputation as somebody who is experienced. You should have a reputation as somebody who is credible. You should have a reputation as somebody who people can bank on.
Okay.
You know, and you may have support. It's not necessarily even money. Somebody could show up. Look, when I did, when I sought to create a social cultural event that's also an economic system of a way for Abeka, built around the Omo Festival in Abeka, for instance. There was a whole health element of it, where I needed to run free health screening and all of those things. I mean, and somebody will step up to say, look, I believe in you.
Right.
Just by having the idea of saying there's a socio-cultural event, you need to build an economic system around it. You need to build activities in and around it for the aim at the well-being of the people.
Right.
Because I believe in you, I'm going to support by ensuring that I bring in A, B, C, D to ensure that happens. He hasn't necessarily given you money, but he's moved the needle for you.
Right.
You know, so yeah.
I get it. Okay. Baba, unfortunately, we've run out of time, but I have 2 minutes that I'm going to beg my producers. You know, when you're having so much fun on a program, time runs so fast. So my producers will have to give me 2 minutes to talk about how's 3 Media doing since you left, and how's it going?
Well, it's doing well. Before I stepped down from my role, we had, together with my other partners, we had set up the business right, proper corporate governance structures, and hired the competent and relevant people to see to the next level of the business. You know, and so, in as far as what they are doing is anything to go, but I think that we are satisfied now.
Okay. Does your politics rub off them negatively?
No.
Nobody has used the fact that, oh, I'm a boss in NDC.
No,
to not do
also
business,
because 3 Media is known for top-notch work. You
have some of the best guys, I have to say.
Yes, I doubt if anybody would say we're not going to go to the event because of Sadiq, when in actual fact, you know what you're going to experience. You know that you're going to have an out of this world experience. And once you're looking for it, I doubt you will not say, I want to go there because Sadiq is NDC.
Wilderland is for you, right?
It's for me as well. I'm the founder for 3 Media and Wilderland as well.
And then is it the Music Awards?
Yes, 3 Music Awards.
Right.
I've always been known as an NDC person, but people still showed up about Wilderland.
What's it called? Did you get this feeling? So when I see the 3 Music Awards, I think of CAF Awards and BBC, and every time BBC names their Player of the Year, CAF makes sure they don't name that player as their Player of the Year. And so when you started, I thought, okay, if they name Artist of the Year, Ghana Music Awards is not going to name that artist because they don't want anybody to take the school. Did you get that? Unspoken,
from the public perception,
right.
It would seem as some of the public will get into some of these things, but if you are deep in industry, you know that no, all the awards will have their own mechanics. And as far as their mechanics is reasonable and makes sense, why not? So
you don't get any turf war vibe.
The turf wars may happen. I think what the turf wars could do in this sense is to get everybody to set up.
Right.
Because I'm sure if we happen within the year, the VGM guys will say, look, we are the oldest guy in the building. I mean, if these guys are getting it right, these guys are getting some aspect right, we need to show them level. That's how.
Do you take credit for just how much, because I mean, you guys really took the whole award ceremony to a whole new level in terms of, organization, equipment, logistics, the whole look and feel of it. So do you take some credit for? I mean, you should really.
Well, I mean, I think it would be if I take credit for it, it would be unfair to the work and the credentials of somebody like Yola and Teresa have been able to do, for instance.
Years.
Over 20 years. I mean,
but in 2022, we still have sound problems anyway.
Well, I mean, give it to us now, but I've seen them move the needle and take it up. And their works have also inspired some of the works that we're doing. And so for me, often we do not like to look at that. Also because, again, we're looking at a bigger scale. I'm constantly looking at the world trend. Look, I spent time breaking down the Super Bowl because my ambition was to make the 3 music awards the Super Bowl of awards in Africa.
Wow.
That was the idea, where every year it becomes the most anticipated when we are done for months or years. You leave people in awe. What did I just watch? Like, whoa, wow, in Africa. Yo, that was the whole idea. And again, because innovation and creativity was the heart of the brand, because we're also targeting a lot of younger people, that was the extra mile that we needed to go. And so we're not looking at this or looking to take that particular credit. We're looking to what's it called? Outdoing ourselves year in, year out. So if we are done with this year, work begins quickly. Like, okay, what do you do to outdo what we did last year?
Right.
As a way of maintaining that particular currency that we have as a brand, because it was at the heart of the commercial viability of the business. Okay,
and finally, I know before your election, the MP was in the constituency working, and he posted everything.
He's very busy now.
So is he still there or he's left?
Well, he's busy. Look, I've said to everybody that anybody that has won elections in the last 3 election cycle
must be taken very serious.
He's a very shrewd politician.
Right.
So sometimes when I get a lot of the people in Twitter saying, "Oh, you do that," I say, "You guys, you're joking. Your MP don't think like that, though. Yeah. He's moving. Yeah. He's reacting. Yeah. Because again, he's very smart. He doesn't want to sit down for a young, competitive, energetic, ambitious young person.
Handsome.
To beat him at it. So, of course, he was not going to leave things to follow. Right. But if he decides to be complacent, oh, well and good. I'll just thank my God. But I was expecting a very, strong competition. Right. Now he has money. He's been MP for 3 terms. He has a lot of money. He can splash it around.
Right.
But we've got ideas. We've got a genuine objective to uplifting the people. And we're not going to wait 11 years and wait for a young man to come on the space before we begin running around to try to fix things. We're going to ensure that from the get-go, we're going to ensure that the things that we said we're going to do, that is going to bring relief to young people, the old age, women in the constituency, we're going to do it. 11 years to 12 years for waiting for very, very simple things to happen in the constituency is such a long time, and such MP should never, ever be repeated. Real change is coming. A refreshingly different leadership is coming. And that leadership is the new hope of Okaikwe Central, Baba Sadiq. The new hope for Okaikwe Central, Baba Sadiq. Thank you very much for coming on One-on-One. And just as you could not reveal who your donors were or your sponsors were, before the show, I spoke to someone who is equally, respectable, high there, who doesn't want to be mentioned. And he said, I asked him, do you think Baba Sadiq would win? He said, it's difficult, but looking at him, he can. So I hope that gives you some hope as well. We will definitely be monitoring, one of those constituencies. like Ayawaso West Welcome, we have certain constituencies that we are so keenly monitoring to see how they fare, because young people have decided to go in there and make a change. They want young people to see them as the change makers, that they're no longer going to wait for the older generation or older folks to keep steering the wheel. My name is Bridget Otu. Leave your comments. We're back again next week with another favorite guest. Do join us.